Jim Romer on August 19th to the 21st. Welcome to Weather Wealth. Today we're going to be talking about the hurricane season, how I forecast hurricanes for energy traders, cotton traders. Also, even coffee sometimes can be affected by hurricanes in Central America. Weather Wealth, once again, helps farmers and traders all over the world. The stock market's not going to go forever, folks, and we want to help you take advantage of options and futures and even conservative ETFs. Everything from natural gas to grains and coffee. Please go to my site, bestweatherinc.com, get a free sample of the Weather Wealth, or download my monthly newsletter, Climate Intelligence. Factors influencing the hurricane season. Sorry, Zoom is not letting me get out of this picture very easily. And El Nino or La Nina definitely affects wind shear and how many hurricanes we tend to have. Stratospheric winds, called the QBO index that we look at. Right now, the winds are blowing from east to west. That tends to increase the hurricane season. The Mediterranean Julian Oscillation Index, MJO, also affects how strong hurricanes tend to be. Right now, we are actually going into a weaker phase, so we'll have some activity, but potentially nothing really catastrophic for a while. African dust, we'll talk about that, can kill development off the west coast of Africa. Tropical North Atlantic Ocean temperatures when it's really warm to the west of West Africa and out in the eastern Atlantic. That can cause quite a bit of development. Those long trailing storms that develop to the west of West Africa and travel a couple thousand miles across the Atlantic. We haven't really seen that the last couple of years. And the loop current. Ocean temperatures in the Gulf of America, very, very warm in part because of climate change. Indeed, this loop current that you see here, the warm eddy, was responsible for a few storms the last few years, particularly Harvey that hit Texas and devastated Houston about, I think, 4 years ago, and Michael that slammed into Florida a couple years ago. Explosive development. A weak little system could go into a category 4 or 5 because of climate change and warming oceans in a matter of less than 36 hours. And that did happen several times over the last few years. What's affecting the hurricane season right now, potentially? We have a new La Nina modica, we call it, a little bit different than a standard La Nina in that, notice the warm ocean temperatures to the west of Peru in the tropical eastern Pacific. This can sometimes cause shear and prevent major hurricanes from developing, but because of the warming oceans and climate change, it kind of offsets that somewhat. Indeed, we can have a little bit of a warm ocean current near Peru, and unless we really have a strong El Nino, hurricanes can still develop because the oceans are so much warmer than they have been really in history. What's happening right now? We have both Tropical Storm Henry and Grace expected to move to the northeast. Look at Henry by early next week, late this week and early next week, up across Nova Scotia and far eastern New England, getting hit by tropical storm force winds. But if you look a little bit further out over the next few weeks, notice the African dust that can often limit development off the west coast of Africa, where most of our storms originate during September and October. And indeed, we can see on models about 2 weeks from now that not a lot of activity coming off the west coast of Africa. Could be a major hurricane, though, approaching Central America again over the next 2 or 3 weeks. That's what we're going to be watching. So how do we forecast long range? Not only do we look at ocean temperatures, here's 2011, a similar situation that we've had with droughts in the Western Corn Belt this summer. Problems with South American corn and bean and coffee crops early on this year. We look at teleconnections. We look at La Nina modica. We look at the African dust. We look at what's happening in the tropical Atlantic. And my program, Climate Predict, looks at all this stuff. Notice what it predicts for September and October. Most of the hurricanes, tropical storms, predicting maybe a total of 19 named storms there, 4 major hurricanes. But again, that warming current around Peru, which gets a little bit warmer, it can limit the number of major hurricanes. But right now, again, because of climate change, I believe we will still have at least a couple more major hurricanes here over the next 2 months. But notice how almost all of them either go into Central America or out into the Atlantic. So hopefully, we're not going to get major devastation and destruction that we've had from several hurricanes over the last few years, based upon the 2011 analog that looks at all teleconnections around the globe that I just mentioned. Anyway, please go to bestweatherinc.com, get a free trial of the Weather Wealth, learn how I can help you make money trading Orange juice, yes, coffee, natural gas and hurricanes and weather, soybeans, sugar has been in a bull market because of weather problems in Brazil. We love to help you. And thank you very much for your time. Have a great rest of your week and the weekend.